The night manager left me a note on my first shift. Not a welcome packet, not a training manual. A handwritten note folded in half, taped to the inside of my locker with a piece of masking tape that had my name spelled wrong. Daniel instead of Daniel. I remember thinking that was just sloppy. I remember thinking a lot of things that first night that turned out to be wrong. The note had 6 lines. That's it. No explanation. No by the way, or heads up, or anything that would have made it feel like normal workplace communication. Just 6 lines, numbered, written in handwriting that pressed so hard into the paper the words almost came through the other side. I still have it. I've read it so many times the paper's started to soften at the folds. I'm going to read it to you now, because everything starts there. Rule 1. If a customer is in the store before open or after close, do not approach them. Use the intercom from the back office only. Rule 2. The Geoffrey Room is not for employee use after 9 p.m. Rule 3. If you hear a child laughing in aisle 7, finish your current task before investigating. Do not run. Rule 4. The inventory system will occasionally log items that don't exist. Do not correct these entries. Rule 5. If a woman with a red cart asks you where the batteries are, tell her you're out of stock, even if you're not. Rule 6. If you work a closing shift and the lights in the back go out before you've hit the breaker, leave the building immediately. Do not wait for your manager. Do not go home. Drive to the 24-hour diner on Route 9 and wait until someone calls you. No signature, no name. I told myself it was a prank. New employee hazing. I'd worked retail before, a grocery store, a CVS, even a Spirit Halloween one October, and every place had their version of the new guy joke. Don't use the 3rd register, it's haunted. Don't eat the break room microwave popcorn. Dave sneezed on it. That kind of thing. But here's what I couldn't shake. The handwriting wasn't funny. There was nothing jokey about it. No smiley face, no wink, no lol good luck. Whoever wrote those rules wrote them the way you'd write a surgery checklist. Like getting them right was the only thing that mattered. I almost quit that night. I wish I had. Let me back up just a little, because you need to understand why I took the job in the first place, and why walking away wasn't as simple as it sounds. My name is Daniel Voss. I'm 26 years old. 8 months ago, I was living in Columbus, Ohio, working a decent marketing job at a mid-sized logistics company. Nothing exciting, but stable. I had an apartment I liked, a gym membership I almost used, and a girlfriend named Priya, who I was maybe 2 years away from proposing to. I was in that comfortable, slightly boring, genuinely happy stretch of your mid-20s where everything is fine and fine feels like enough. Then my mom had her stroke. It wasn't catastrophic. She survived. She kept most of her function. But she was alone in Hopewell, New Jersey, in the house I grew up in. And she couldn't drive anymore and couldn't manage the stairs well and had no one nearby. So I made the decision in about 4 days flat. Quit the job, packed 2 suitcases, told Priya the plan. To her credit, she didn't break up with me right then. That came later over the phone 3 weeks after I moved. But that's a different kind of horror story. Hopewell is a small town. Jobs aren't plentiful. I had some savings, but not enough to float indefinitely, while my mom's physical therapy bills started landing. So when I saw the Indeed posting for a part-time overnight stock associate, shift manager, at what the listing called one of the nation's last remaining Toys R Us locations, I applied without thinking too hard about it. I knew the chain had gone bankrupt. I knew most of the stores had closed years ago, but there's a few left. Corporate relaunches, franchise experiments. I don't know the full story. And this particular location, a standalone building off Route 9 near the edge of town, had apparently been running continuously since 1987. Different ownership a couple of times, but never once closed, never went dark. The manager who hired me was a man named Phil Garrett. 50s, heavy-set, with the kind of exhausted calm you see in people who've been managing retail for so long that nothing surprises them anymore. He interviewed me in his office, which smelled like old coffee and carpet cleaner, and he asked me exactly 3 questions. You got experience with inventory systems? Yes. You comfortable working alone? Sure. You have a problem following rules even when they don't make sense to you? I said no. I said I was a rule follower by nature. He nodded like I'd given the right answer. Hired me on the spot, told me starting pay, told me hours. Shook my hand. The handshake was firm but brief. The kind where the other person lets go first. Quickly, like they're relieved to stop touching you. He never mentioned the note in my locker. I found out later that Phil wrote it. I found out a lot of things about Phil later. The store at night is a different animal than the store during the day. I know that sounds obvious. Of course, a retail space feels different when it's empty, but Toys R Us has this particular quality to it, this specific flavor of emptiness that I haven't experienced anywhere else. Maybe it's because toys are inherently tied to children, and children are tied to noise and movement and chaos. And when all of that is stripped away, what you're left with is this profound, almost violent absence of all the things the space was designed for. The aisles are wide, 14 feet across in some sections. They were built for strollers, for families moving slow, for kids stopping to touch everything. At 2 a.m. alone, those 14 feet feel like you're walking the floor of a cathedral. Your footsteps don't just echo, they announce you. They say, here he is, here he is. Here he is with every step, and if you stop walking, the silence that comes after is so complete, it almost has a sound of its own. The Geoffrey Room is in the back left corner of the store. Geoffrey, as in Geoffrey the giraffe. The mascot. Most people my age remember him. That big cartoon giraffe on the bags, the commercials, the logo. In this store, there's a whole themed room dedicated to him. Little kids can go in, sit on these oversized beanbag chairs shaped like animals, watch old toy commercials on a mounted TV, get their picture taken with a life-size Geoffrey statue in the corner. It was a marketing thing, apparently. Something the franchise owners added to make the store feel nostalgic. Differentiated, the Geoffrey Room. Rule 2 said employees couldn't use it after 9 p.m. The first night I worked a full closing shift, a Thursday, I got there at 8. Did my walkthrough with Phil, and at 8:55 he put on his jacket and told me he was heading out. You good? He said. Yeah, I said. You read the note? I looked at him. Yeah, all of it? All 6, he nodded. Picked up his keys from the service counter. Got 3 steps toward the exit and then stopped without turning around. The Geoffrey Room, he said. Don't even look through the window after 9. Okay, not just don't go in. Don't look through the window. He left before I could ask him anything. I stood at the service counter for a full minute after the front door clicked shut, listening to the store settle around me. The HVAC kicked on somewhere deep in the building. The fluorescent lights hummed. Somewhere in the toy aisle, I was pretty sure it was the Lego section, something shifted with a faint plastic clatter, the way boxed toys sometimes do when the temperature changes and the cardboard expands. I went to the back office, started running inventory. At 9:14 p.m., the inventory system flagged 3 items that shouldn't exist. The system we used was basic. Barcode scanner, old laptop running some proprietary software that the franchise parent company provided, probably hadn't been updated since Obama's first term. When you scanned an item, it pulled up the SKU, the product name, the quantity on hand, and the bin location. Simple. At 9:14, without me scanning anything, 3 entries appeared in the day's log. EQEOU0. Companion unit, non-retail, quantity 1. Location, GR main SKU 00001. Companion unit, non-retail. Quantity 1. Location, GR main SKU 0002. Companion unit, non-retail. Quantity 1. Location, GR main. The Geoffrey Room, main floor. Rule 4 came back to me in a flash. The inventory system will occasionally log items that don't exist. Do not correct these entries. My hand was on the keyboard. I almost deleted them out of instinct. Ghost entries in an inventory system were usually data corruption, and the trained part of my brain wanted to clean it up. But I pulled my hand back, left them. Then I sat very still and thought about the fact that 3 invisible items had just logged themselves to the Geoffrey Room at 9:14 p.m. 14 minutes after I was supposed to stop looking at the window. I didn't go look. I want you to understand that. I did not go look. I stayed at that desk. and I ran my inventory count on the action figures. In aisle 3, and I told myself it was a glitch, and I told myself the rules were a prank, and I told myself I was 26 years old and I wasn't afraid of a toy store. I was lying to myself. But I held the lie together until 6 a.m. when daylight came through the high windows at the front of the store, and I heard the morning crew's car in the parking lot. And my whole body exhaled like I'd been holding my breath for 9 hours. Which in a way, I should tell you about Renata. Renata Cruz was the other overnight associate. She'd been at the store for 3 years, which made her the longest tenured overnight employee by a significant margin. Phil said the average person who took the overnight job lasted about 4 months, which he said with the smile of a man who thought that statistic was funny and didn't understand why I didn't. Renata was 31, originally from Trenton, with the kind of direct, dry humor that people develop when they grew up having to be tougher than everyone around them and eventually started finding it funny. She had 2 kids, 6 and 9, and she worked overnight specifically because her sister watched the kids. And the overnight differential meant she made the same money in 5 shifts as most people made in 6. She was practical in a way that I found immediately calming, and she had 0 patience for what she called mystique. The rules, she said to me at the end of my first week when I finally brought them up. We were eating sandwiches in the break room at 1 a.m., and she said it without looking up from her phone. Phil told you to read them? They were in my locker. Yeah. She turned a page in whatever she was reading. They're in everyone's locker. Do you follow them? She looked up then, and Renata had this look, this particular look I came to think of as her don't be stupid face, that she deployed whenever she felt a question revealed a fundamental misunderstanding about something important. I've been here 3 years, she said. That's not an answer. Yes, it is. She went back to her phone. Rule 3 almost got me the second month. I heard a kid laughing in aisle 7 at like 2 in the morning and I ran over there. Nothing. But I ran, and Phil saw the camera footage. What happened? He sat me down the next morning and he looked at me like I'd crossed a street without looking both ways in front of a semi, and he said, "Please don't run, Renata." And his voice was so serious. She shook her head. I never ran again. What's in aisle 7? Board games. Card games. She shrugged. Nothing. You've looked? After running? Sure. Nothing there. But the laughing was real. Oh, it was real. She said it simply, like she was confirming the break room table was brown. It's always real. I set my sandwich down. Renata, what is this place? She thought about it for a long moment. Not like she didn't know. Like she was deciding how much to tell me. It's the last one, she said finally. There's something about being the last one. You understand? Everything else closed. All the other stores. And when they closed, whatever was in them, she paused. It needed somewhere to go. That doesn't make any sense. No, she agreed. It doesn't. It was the 4th week when I heard the laughing. I was in the middle of restocking the Barbie section in aisle 4. Pink boxes, small white hangers, those little plastic windowed packages with the dolls posed inside. And at 1:47 a.m., from 2 aisles over I heard it, a child laughing. Not the sound effect from a toy. I know what that sounds like. I'd heard plenty of them trigger accidentally when I'd bump a shelf or when the temperature shifted and a sensor fired on its own. This was organic, wet and real. A small child, maybe 4 or 5 years old by the pitch of it, laughing the way kids laugh when they're chasing something. That running, breathless, half-giggling laugh that's basically the sound of pure delight. At 1:47 a.m., in a locked, empty toy store, I stopped moving. Rule 3 came up immediately. If you hear a child laughing in aisle 7, finish your current task before investigating. Do not run. I had 6 more Barbie boxes to hang. I hung them. My hands were shaking enough that I dropped the 3rd one and had to pick it up off the floor. And when I straightened up, I was almost eye level with the shelf, and I could see my own reflection in the black plastic window of a Barbie Dreamhouse box. Pale, jaw set, eyes too wide, I hung all 6 boxes. Then I walked, not ran, walked to aisle 7. It was empty. Of course it was empty. The board games were stacked in their precise rows. The card game spinner displays were motionless. The chess sets and the Monopoly boxes and the Sorry games sat in perfect corporate order under the fluorescent hum, but the air in that aisle was different. Warmer. Noticeably, measurably warmer than the rest of the store. And there was a smell. Faint, layered under the plastic and cardboard department store smell that I know is going to sound insane, but I'm going to say it anyway. Cotton candy. And the specific artificial grape smell of those purple dime-tap cough drops. The exact smell of a child's birthday party circa 1995, Stood in the middle of that aisle for about 45 seconds. Then I went back to my station. Didn't tell Renata until the following shift. When I described the smell, she put her coffee down and looked at me for a long moment. "That's new," she said quietly. "It's never had a smell before. It's never had a smell before." She said it like the thing in aisle 7 was something she had a long, personal relationship with. Like it was a familiar neighbor who'd just redecorated. "Renata," I said. "What do you mean it?" She picked up her coffee again. "I don't know what it is. I just know it doesn't want to hurt anyone. Or at least it hasn't yet." She paused. "The smell concerns me." "Why?" "Because things that are content don't change," she said. "Things that are changing are looking for something." I started paying attention to the inventory glitches after that. Every night, at some point between 9 p.m. and 4 a.m., the system would log something that didn't exist. Always with an SKU in the 00 range. Always labeled non-retail. And always, every single time, assigned to one of 3 locations. GR Main, GR Side, or what the system called GR Annex. The Geoffrey Room had a main area, a side alcove where kids could sit and build something with the giant foam blocks, and an annex, a small connecting room behind the main space that I hadn't actually been in because it was marked staff only, authorized personnel, the annex. I'd walked past its door dozens of times. Plain grey door, lever handle, a small placard. I'd never seen Phil go in. I'd never seen anyone go in. I asked Renata about the annex on a Tuesday night around midnight. The look she gave me this time wasn't the "don't be stupid" look. It was something closer to fear, not the dramatic, hands up kind of fear. The quiet, managed kind. The kind of fear that has been lived with long enough to become just another thing you carry. "Don't ask about the annex," she said. "Why?" "Because knowing about the annex means you've been thinking about the Geoffrey Room. And thinking about the Geoffrey Room at night means you're paying it the wrong kind of attention." "What kind of attention is the right kind?" "None." She was very clear about this. 0. You acknowledge it exists the same way you acknowledge the store has a roof. You don't look at the roof. You just know it's there. I let it go. For another week, I let it go. She came in on a Saturday, 40 minutes before close. I almost missed her. I was doing a floor walk near the electronics section when I heard the soft plastic squeak of cartwheels and looked up to find a woman pushing a bright red cart. Not our carts, which were the standard silver wire mesh, but a solid red plastic cart. The old style ones with the high sides, like something out of a store that closed years ago. Moving slowly down the main aisle toward me. She was in her mid-40s, I'd guess. Dark hair with grey at the temples, a navy coat, sensible shoes. Nothing overtly wrong about her. She looked like someone's aunt, like the kind of woman who brings a casserole when you move into a new house. The cart made that squeak, that hollow, rhythmic squeak. She looked up at me and smiled, and I noticed 2 things simultaneously. The cart was empty, and her eyes were the particular flat quality of eyes that are working very hard to appear warm without actually being warm. "Excuse me," she said. "Do you know where I'd find batteries?" Rule 5 detonated in my chest like a flare. If a woman with a red cart asks you where the batteries are, tell her you're out of stock. "Even if you're not, I'm so sorry," I said. My voice came out steadier than I expected. "We're out of stock on batteries right now." She looked at me. A full 3 seconds of just looking, the smile not moving, not flickering. "All types?" She said. "All types. A, AAA, all of it," I said. "Sorry about that. We're expecting a shipment Monday." Another long pause. The cart squeaked once even though she hadn't moved it. "That's a shame," she said. She turned and pushed the cart back down the main aisle. I watched her the whole way. She went around the corner toward the front of the store. I waited 30 seconds, then walked to the front. She was gone. The front door showed no movement on the entry sensor light. The parking lot through the glass was empty except for my car and Renata's Corolla. I checked every aisle. Both restrooms. The back corner near the bikes. The woman with the red cart was simply not in the store anymore. I found Renata in the break room and I sat down and I said, "The woman with the red cart just came in." Renata went completely still. "What did you say to her?" "What the rule said." "We were out of batteries." Renata let out a long, slow breath. The kind of breath that comes out when a serious amount of tension leaves a body all at once. "Good," she said. "Good, good, good. Who is she?" Renata shook her head slowly. "Phil says she's been coming in since the 90s. Different managers, different employees, same woman, same cart, same question." She paused. "The one time she actually found batteries. Phil's predecessor before Phil apparently directed her to aisle 9. She took them to the Geoffrey Room." I waited. "And that night the annex door was open," Renata said, "when it had never been opened before. And 3 employees who were here that night quit the next morning, and none of them would say why. Phil knows one of them. He says the guy won't talk about it, not even now, years later. He just won't. Changes the subject, leaves the room." The fluorescent light above us flickered once, then held. "What's in the annex, Renata?" She picked up her coffee. She held it in both hands. She stared at the table. "I don't know," she said. "I genuinely don't know, but I know it needs power." And she brings the batteries. November into December was actually okay. I know how that sounds, given everything. But for about 6 weeks after the woman with the red cart, things settled into something almost livable. The inventory glitches happened. I noted them and left them alone. The aisle 7 laughing came twice more. I finished my tasks, walked over, found the warm air and nothing else. The Geoffrey Room sat in the back left corner, and I kept my eyes off it after 9 p.m. without too much effort. Renata and I developed a rhythm. We'd do our separate routes, meet in the break room around 1, eat, talk. She showed me pictures of her kids. I told her about my mom's PT progress. We complained about Phil's habit of leaving passive-aggressive sticky notes on the inventory laptop. We were, in a weird and completely sincere way, friends. I started to think maybe I understood the store. Maybe the rules were enough, a kind of negotiated peace between whatever lived here and the people who worked here. Follow the rules, everyone gets along. No one gets hurt. Renata had been here 3 years and she was fine. I think about that now and I feel like an idiot. I was measuring fine with the wrong instruments. The second week of December, Phil called in sick. This was notable because in the time I'd been there, Phil had never missed a shift. He opened the store every morning at 9. He did the midday walkthrough. He was out by 6 and we were in by 8. The machine ran with Phil-shaped precision, and his absence the first morning felt like finding a load-bearing wall had been quietly removed. He was sick 2 days. On the 3rd day, he came back. And he was different. Not dramatically different. Not movie monster different. Just slightly off in the way that a piece of furniture moved 2 inches from where it always was is off. You can't immediately name it, but something in your spatial memory fires a warning. He was quieter. He avoided the back half of the store. On his midday walk through that first day back, he got as far as aisle 10 and then turned around and went back to his office. And I watched him through the security camera feed, and he stood at his office door for a moment with his hand on the frame, just standing there before going in that night. Before his usual 6 p.m. departure, he came to find me in the stockroom. "Daniel." "Hey, Phil. Feeling better?" He looked at me for a moment. Then, "How have the nights been?" "Normal," I said carefully. "Glitches in the system, the usual things." "The usual things." He repeated it, tasting it. "Has anything changed? Anything feel different to you?" I thought about the smell in aisle 7, the cotton candy and grape, the way it had changed. "Not really," I said. Phil looked at me like he didn't believe me but had decided not to push it. He nodded once, started to leave, stopped. "If Rule 6 applies tonight," he said without turning around. "Don't second guess it, okay? Just go." "Phil, the diner on Route 9. Wait for the call." He finally looked back at me and his face was doing something I'd never seen it do before. Something raw, tightly controlled. I mean it, Daniel. Don't be a hero. Don't be curious. Just go. He walked out. I stood in the stockroom and thought about Rule 6. If you work a closing shift and the lights in the back go out before you've hit the breaker, leave the building immediately. The back lights had never gone out before. They went out at 11:23 that night. Renata and I were both on the floor. She was in aisle 2, I was in aisle 12 with a clipboard checking bike inventory, and at 11:23, the lights in the back third of the store, everything behind aisle 10, went dark. Not flickered. Not stuttered. Just went dark. The boundary was clean and absolute, like someone had drawn a line. Aisles 1 through 10, lit. Aisles 11 through 15, the stockroom, the back corridor, the Geoffrey Room section. Complete darkness. I didn't move for 3 full seconds, then I took 2 steps forward toward aisle 10, and I could see exactly where the light ended. A hard edge across the middle of the aisle. The tile on my side, bright white under the fluorescence. The tile on the other side, black as a cave. Renata, I called out. Renata, Rule 6. I see it. Her voice was already moving, coming toward me from the front of the store. I see it, I'm coming. She appeared at the end of the main aisle, moving fast without running. She was good at that, Renata. She could move urgently without ever quite tipping into panic, and she had her bag already on her shoulder, her keys in her hand. We were 15 feet from the front exit, from the dark part of the store, from somewhere deep inside it. Somewhere in the direction of the Geoffrey Room, I heard a sound. Not a child's laugh this time, a voice. An adult voice, low and just at the edge of intelligibility, speaking in a cadence that was almost singing. Almost. The kind of almost that makes your skin tighten. Renata grabbed my arm. Not gently. Her fingers found my elbow and she pulled, and we went through the front exit, and the cold December air hit us like a wall, and the door swung shut behind us. We got into Renata's Corolla because it was closer. She drove. Neither of us said anything until we pulled into the Route 9 diner and she killed the engine, and we sat in the parking lot under the orange glow of the diner sign, and she was gripping the steering wheel with both hands even, though we weren't moving. That's never happened, she said. In 3 years. That's never happened. The voice, I said. I heard it. What was it? I don't know. Sharp, final. I don't know, and I don't want to speculate right now. We went inside, got coffee, sat in a booth near the window. Renata's hands had stopped shaking by the time the coffee came. Mine hadn't. At 1:15 a.m. my phone rang. Unknown number. New Jersey area code, I answered Phil's voice. Quiet and controlled and about 6% more frightened than he probably wanted to sound. You left, he said. Yes. Good. A pause. Long enough to make me aware of the background behind him. Wherever he was, it was silent. Too silent. Don't go back in tonight. I'll cover morning open. You and Renata get some sleep. Phil, what happened in there? Another pause. Sometimes, he said carefully, it gets restless. Around the holidays. It always has since before I was managing here. Something about December. I said. You keep saying it. Yes. What is it, Phil? The pause this time was so long I thought he'd hung up. You know how all the stores closed? He said finally. Every single Toys R Us in the country. Hundreds of them. All the locations. His voice was very quiet now. I used to think those closings were just business. Bankruptcy, Amazon, changing retail. And I still think that mostly. Another pause. But sometimes I think about all those stores, all those locations, full of a specific kind of something for 30 years and children's happiness, anticipation, want, the specific emotional energy of a child in a place that was built entirely for them. I didn't say anything. And when those stores closed, Phil said, most of that energy just dissipated, natural decay, but not all of it, a breath. We're the last one, Daniel. We've been continuously operating since 1987. Do you understand what I'm saying? We never closed. We never went dark. We're the last unbroken container. Phil, are you saying the store is haunted? I'm saying, he said slowly, That haunted is a word that assumes something died. And I'm not sure whatever's in that store ever lived in the way we mean when we use that word. He hung up. I sat in the diner booth and looked out the window at the dark road and thought about containers. About things that accumulate, that concentrate, that don't dissipate because they have nowhere to go. Renata was watching me. She'd heard enough of my side of the conversation to follow it. "He told you," she said. "Some of it. Does it help?" I thought about it honestly. "No," I said. "No," she agreed. "It doesn't." 2 weeks passed. The store was fine. Phil started staying until 10 p.m. on weeknights, which I suspect was his way of providing an unannounced buffer. The December restlessness, whatever it was, seemed to have passed after that one night. The inventory glitches came and went. The aisle 7 warmth was there sometimes and not others. The Geoffrey Room sat in its corner, and I kept not looking at its window, and it didn't ask anything of me. By Christmas Eve, I felt almost normal. My mom was doing well. She'd gotten up and down the stairs twice without help that week, which her PT said was ahead of schedule. I'd video called Priya by accident, pocket dial, genuinely. And we'd had a short, surprisingly civil conversation that left me feeling weirdly okay about everything. I was working the Christmas Eve overnight, which paid triple time, and I'd promised my mom I'd be home for Christmas morning coffee and whatever cinnamon roll situation she had planned. I remember standing at the service counter at midnight, Christmas Eve tipping into Christmas morning, and thinking, I can do this. This job, this town, this whole situation. I can do this. Renata wasn't there that night. Family Christmas Eve thing. Phil had arranged coverage. A woman named Sonia, who I'd met twice, a daytime employee who'd agreed to do a one-time overnight for the holiday pay. Nice woman, late 40s, no idea about the rules. I hadn't thought about the rules. Phil had left them for her, I assumed. He always left them. At 12:40 a.m. I heard Sonia's voice from the back of the store. "Hey Danny, do you know where Phil keeps the breaker box? The lights back here just went out." Oh no, no. I started moving before I finished the thought. "Sonia, don't," I called out. "Sonia, come toward my voice, come to the front of the store. It's okay, I think I see the box." Her voice was casual, unbothered. She hadn't read the rules. She didn't know. "Sonia, leave it. Come to me right now." A pause. A long one. "Sonia." Silence. "Sonia." I was at aisle 10, the hard edge of darkness, same as before. The lights in the back were out clean and the dark ahead of me was absolute in a way that store darkness shouldn't be. Stores have exit signs, pilot lights, standby displays, 100 little sources of ambient glow. This dark had eaten all of it. "I'm in here," her voice came back. And it was wrong. Not wrong like someone trying to mimic her. Wrong like Sonia talking underwater. Like Sonia with the vocal quality of a recording played at 3/4 speed. "I found the breaker box," she said. "It's in the back room. Do you want me to flip it?" "Sonia," I said very carefully. "Don't touch anything. Walk back toward the light. Walk toward my voice." A long pause. "The Geoffrey Room is open," she said. My blood went cold. "Sonia, please walk toward me. The door is open. There's something..." Her voice trailed, then came back, dreamy and slow. "There's something beautiful in here." And then I heard it again, that near-singing, low adult voice, but closer now. Much closer. And underneath it, layered in that awful way, the laughter from aisle 7, both at once. Coming from the direction of the Geoffrey Room, I called 911. I'm not proud of waiting those few seconds to do it, but I stood at the edge of that darkness with my phone in my hand, and I had to fight through a very specific kind of paralysis that I think most people would have felt in that moment. The paralysis of standing at the absolute border of something your mind knows it shouldn't cross, and your body insisting that someone is on the other side of it. The 911 operator picked up, and I told her there was an employee who had gone into a dark section of the store and wasn't responding normally, and I needed someone there. Then I called Phil. He answered on the second ring. It was past midnight on Christmas Eve, and he answered on the second ring, which told me that Phil Garrett did not sleep well on overnight shifts. When I told him about Sonia, there was a pause, and the sound he made wasn't surprise. It was the sound of something you've been dreading for a long time finally arriving. "Stay at the front of the store," he said. "Don't go into the dark. The police are going to come and they're going to go in with lights and she'll—" He stopped. "It doesn't engage with groups. With the lights on and people in there, she'll be disoriented, but okay. She'll be okay. You sound like you're not sure. Stay at the front." The police came. 2 officers within 7 minutes, which is Hopewell fast. They had flashlights, and they went into the back with me directing them. And they found Sonia in 3 minutes. She was standing in the Geoffrey Room, facing the Geoffrey statue in the corner, not moving. She was fine. Physically fine. She didn't remember going into the Geoffrey Room. She remembered finding the breaker box in the back corridor, and then she remembered being in the Geoffrey Room, and she didn't know how. She got from one to the other, and she didn't want to talk about what she'd seen, or thought she'd seen, in the brief window between. The officers checked the whole store, every aisle, the back room, the annex. They tried the annex door and it was locked. And one of them wrote something in his notebook, and that was that. They left at 2 a.m. I sat in the parking lot with Sonia while we waited for her husband to come pick her up. And she sat wrapped in her coat and stared at the asphalt and didn't say anything except once, almost to herself, the eyes. "What?" I said. She shook her head. "Nothing. Never mind." I didn't push it. After her husband took her home, I sat alone in the parking lot and looked at the store. The lights were all back on. The police had found the breaker and flipped it, and through the big front windows, the interior looked exactly like a toy store. Bright and warm and full of colorful boxes. You could see the display near the window. A train set running in a little loop on a table. And if you didn't know what you were looking at, you might think, that looks like a really nice place for kids. That thought curdled in my stomach. I went home. I slept 4 hours. I had Christmas coffee with my mom. I went back for my next shift. I'm still asking myself why. January. Phil called me into his office 10 minutes into a Friday shift. Renata wasn't in yet. It was just the 2 of us. And he set a folder on the desk between us, and he looked at me the way people look at you when they're about to say something. They've been deciding whether to say, "For a long time, I want to show you something," he said. The folder had photographs. Old ones, some on photo paper from a drugstore printer, some actual prints from the film era, the kind with the white border and the date stamp in orange in the corner. Store photographs. This store, identifiably, same floor plan, same Geoffrey mural on the back wall, but in different decades. The 1980s photos had customers in them, kids running the aisles, parents with the old wire carts. "Before your time, before my time," Phil said. "Store history. The franchise sent it when I first took over, as background material." Then he put a different photograph on top. This one was from the late 90s by the style of it. The store was closed after hours. And it showed the Geoffrey Room, the door open, the beanbag chairs in their places, the Geoffrey statue in the corner, and sitting in one of the beanbag chairs, barely visible in the store's night mode lighting, was a child. A small child, maybe 4 or 5, sitting very still, looking at the camera. I picked up the photograph. The child's features were blurry. Old film. Low light. But there was one thing that was very clear. The child was wearing a price tag. A Toys R Us price tag. The oval white sticker with the black text on the back of their hand. And even at that resolution in that light, I could make out enough of it to see that it was formatted like an inventory entry, SKU, item name, quantity. "Phil," I said. "It gets worse," he said. He put another photograph down. And another. Different years, different decades. The 90s, the early 2000s, what looked like 2009 or 2010. Different children. In the Geoffrey Room in aisle 7, once near the bikes, once near the service counter, always still. Always with the price tag on the back of the hand, always alone. Where did these come from? I said, "Security cameras," Phil said. "Previous managers kept them." "Pass them along. I've been adding to the collection. Are they—" I stopped. Started again. "Are they children who were—" "We don't know," Phil said. "I've tried to find out." I looked up missing children, local cases going back to the store opening. There are coincidences, dates near store incidents. but nothing definitive. Nothing I can take to anyone without sounding... He stopped. Without sounding crazy, I said. Without sounding crazy, he agreed. I looked at the photographs spread across his desk. 12 of them. 12 different children across 40 years. And then I looked more carefully at the most recent one, dated from the folder's log as being captured 6 months ago, before my tenure. And I felt the floor go soft beneath me. The child in the photograph was in aisle 7, standing between the board game shelves. She had dark hair, small features, maybe 5 years old, and she was looking directly at the camera with an expression that wasn't fear, wasn't confusion, wasn't any of the things a lost child should look like. She was smiling, and around her neck on a lanyard was a laminated card, a store employee badge. The name on the badge was too small to read at this resolution, but the badge was the same format as mine, as Renata's, as Phil's. Phil, I said. My voice came out very strange. How many employees have worked overnight here in the last 10 years? He looked at me. He already knew what I was about to ask. A lot, he said carefully. What happened to them? The ones who quit. He didn't answer right away. Phil, what happened to the ones who quit after 4 months? He opened his desk drawer and he put a piece of paper in front of me. A list of names and dates formatted like an employee roster. 37 names going back 12 years. Most had end dates. They'd left, moved on. Some had stars next to them. 6 stars. Those 6, Phil said, I can't find records of after their last shift. I stared at the list. They didn't just quit and move away, I said. I've tried to locate them. Addresses go cold. Phone numbers disconnect. One of them, woman named Terry, 2016, her family filed a missing persons report. Police investigated nothing. He paused. The report listed her last known location as her workplace. This address. This building. The inventory system, I said. Yes, the non-retail entries. The companion unit logs. GR main, GR side, GR annex. Companion unit. Not items that don't exist. Items that shouldn't be items at all. The annex, I said. Phil's face was very still. We don't go in the annex. You've never looked? He looked at his desk, at his hands, at something that wasn't there. I looked once, he said. First year I was here. He picked up his coffee. Didn't drink it. It's like a storage room. Boxes, old merchandise. But in the back there's a section that's... He stopped. It's organized. Whatever is in there, it's organized. Tagged, labeled. His jaw tightened. I didn't look closely. I couldn't. The price tags, I said. On the children in the photographs. He nodded. It collects them, I said. It didn't feel like a theory anymore. It felt like something clicking into place the way truths do. Not with surprise, but with the horrible satisfaction of pattern recognition. It collects them, organizes them, catalogs them. We don't know what they are, Phil said. We don't know if are they real? Are they alive? I don't know. For the first time since I'd met him, Phil Garrett sounded genuinely, profoundly tired. Not just end-of-shift tired, existentially tired. The store is the last container. Whatever has been building in it for 40 years, it's been learning from the store, doing what the store does, cataloging, stocking, keeping inventory, and the rules, I said. The rules are the negotiated terms. The rules keep it manageable, Phil said. The rules are the difference between what happened Christmas Eve and... He didn't finish. Sonia was fine. She's fine. Phil, is Sonia's name on that list? He looked at the list. Not yet. Not yet. I went home that night and sat in my childhood bedroom. I was still in my old room at my mom's house. Small twin bed, the same shelf of books I'd had at 16, and I stared at the ceiling and I put the pieces together. The rules weren't arbitrary. They were specifically designed to maintain a very careful distance between the employees and the thing in the Geoffrey Room. Don't approach after-hours customers, because what's in the store at midnight isn't a customer. The Geoffrey Room after 9, because 9 p.m. is when it's most active. Rule 3s don't run, because running in a predatory environment triggers predatory response. Rule 4s leave the inventory glitches alone, because correcting them disrupts the organizational system it's built for itself, and you don't want to disturb it. Rule 5's woman with the red cart, because she's some kind of intermediary, some kind of feeder, and the batteries power whatever happens in the annex. And Rule 6 was the escape valve, the emergency exit, the rule that existed because sometimes, despite everything, the negotiated peace breaks down. And 6 employees in 12 years had been on shift when it broke down completely. I thought about Renata. 3 years at the store, following every rule every time. How long could that last? I thought about the children in the photographs, where they came from, what they were now, whether they knew, whether the smiling one in aisle 7, the one with the employee badge, knew. I thought about the inventory entry, companion unit. I called Renata at 11 p.m. She picked up after 3 rings, groggy but alert. She had young children. She'd trained herself to wake up quickly. "Are you okay?" she said immediately. "Phil showed me the photographs," I said. A long silence. "How many did he show you?" 12, another silence. "He only had 7 when he showed me," she said quietly. 2 years ago. 5 more since then," I said. "Renata, the one from 6 months ago, a little girl, aisle 7 with an employee badge." "Don't," she said. "Renata, don't." Harder this time. "A wall. I know the one you're describing. I saw it. Her voice cracked just slightly, then held. "I've been here 3 years, Daniel. I follow the rules. I do everything right. And it leaves me alone. It leaves my family alone. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're saying you know something about that photograph. I'm saying I'm alive and my kids are safe and I follow the rules." The employee badge, Renata. "Who is she?" "Get some sleep," Renata said. "I'll see you Thursday." She hung up. I lay in my childhood bed and stared at the shelf of old books, and I thought about a little girl in an empty toy store at 2 a.m., smiling at a security camera, wearing a laminated badge, waiting to be inventoried. I thought, what does it mean to be a companion unit? And the answer that came to me was so simple and so awful that I understood immediately why Phil had taken 12 years to tell anyone. It means the store keeps you. Like a toy. For the children that it keeps, I went back on a Wednesday, not a scheduled shift. 2 a.m. I've thought a lot about whether to tell this part, whether it makes me sound reckless or stupid, or like someone in a horror movie doing exactly the thing you yell at the screen for. Maybe all of those things. But I need you to understand that by that point, the not knowing had become its own kind of damage. I was sleeping 4 hours a night. I was snapping at my mom. The rules had taken up permanent residence in my head. I ran through them every morning over coffee like a rosary. I needed to see the annex. I'd gotten a copy of the store key from the lockbox during my last legitimate shift. Phil kept one there for emergencies, and I'd replaced it before I left. I don't feel great about that, but I did it. The parking lot was empty. The store was dark in its normal nighttime mode, ambient safety lighting, a few display lights on timers. I let myself in through the side employee entrance and stood just inside the door for a full minute, letting my eyes adjust, listening. The store breathed around me. The HVAC, the fluorescent pilot hum, the distant occasional settle of inventory on plastic shelves. I walked the perimeter, checked each aisle as I passed. Nothing wrong. The store was the store, empty and familiar. I did not look at the Geoffrey Room window. I went to the annex door. Lever handle, locked. I had the master key. I stood there for a moment with the key in my hand, and I thought about every version of this decision, and I put the key in the lock. The room smelled like plastic and something older. Something that made me think of attics and old photograph albums and the particular sweetness of long-stored things. I turned on my flashlight. It was a storage room exactly as Phil described. Shelves from floor to ceiling. But where Phil had said he couldn't look closely, I looked closely. Every shelf was labeled. Handwritten tags in neat, careful print. The same pressing handwriting as the rules in my locker. Categories along the top of each section: year, type, origin, condition, current status, and on the shelves, dolls. Hundreds of them. But not the store's inventory. These weren't new in boxes. They were old, worn, the kind that had been played with, loved. The button eyes of stuffed animals, the hair of cloth dolls, the hollow plastic stare of baby dolls, each one tagged. Each tag formatted like an inventory entry. I moved to the back wall. The shelves there were different, heavier. And what was on them wasn't toys, they were photographs. Hundreds of photographs in clear plastic sleeves, organized by year, labeled with the same careful hand. And in each photograph, a face. Adult, child, all ages. Some looked like old ID photos. Some looked like security camera captures. People who had been in this store. I was looking for something without knowing exactly what I was looking for. And then my flashlight caught one of the sleeve labels and I stopped. The label said, "Overnight Staff." The section had 6 sleeves, 6 photographs of people I didn't know, all in their work clothing, some in Toys R Us uniforms and some clearly in civilian clothes, all photographed in what looked like the store's interior. All of them had their eyes open. All of them were smiling. None of them looked like they'd chosen to smile, and beside the 6 sleeves was a 7th. Empty. The sleeve was labeled with a name. My name, Daniel Voss. Started, October, current status, pending. I heard the door behind me, not a creak, not a warning. The lever handle just depressed, with that mechanical precision, and the door swung open. I spun around. Renata stood in the doorway. She was in her work clothes. She was holding her store keys. She was looking at me with an expression that I had never seen on her face. Not the don't be stupid look, not the managed fear look, not the dry humor look. An expression I couldn't read, which with Renata was itself a terrifying thing because I'd learned to read her well. "I figured you'd come back," she said. "Renata," I said. "There's a sleeve with my name on it." "I know." She stepped into the room. She didn't look at the shelves. She was looking at me. "There's been one with your name since before you applied." "What?" "The job posting," she said slowly. "It doesn't go on Indeed by accident. Phil doesn't post it when he needs an employee. It goes up when..." She stopped, breathed. "It goes up when the store decides it needs someone." The store put up the job posting. "The store," she said, "has been doing this for 40 years. It knows how to run a job posting. It knows how to run a lot of things." The room felt like it was tilting. "Phil," I said. "Phil knows?" "Phil was found the same way you were," Renata said. 20 years ago, his name was in a sleeve. He figured it out eventually. And instead of running, she paused. Instead of running, he negotiated. The rules. He wrote the rules. He gave it a framework, a routine, and in exchange, it doesn't take him, I said. In exchange, it doesn't take anyone. As long as the framework holds. She looked at the empty sleeve with my name. "But the framework needs maintenance, Daniel. The rules need someone to enforce them. Phil's getting old. He can't do nights anymore, really. He needs a replacement," I said. "The store needs a manager," she said. "Someone who understands it, who knows the rules, who can maintain the negotiation." I looked at the 6 photographs of the smiling people who had not chosen to smile. "What happened to them?" I said. "The ones who didn't become managers?" She was quiet for a long time. "They're here," she said. "They're part of it now. She glanced at the shelves of worn, tagged toys. "The button eyes, the hollow stares. It doesn't destroy things," she said quietly. "It catalogs them, keeps them. It turned them into, it keeps them," she said again. The dolls on the shelves behind me. Hundreds of them, worn and loved and tagged. I said, "How long have you known?" "Since my 7th month," she said. "Phil told me the same thing he's about to tell you. He's going to offer you the management position. Official. Salary, not hourly. Full benefits." She looked at me steadily. "It's not nothing, Daniel. The store keeps you safe, keeps your family safe. You maintain the rules, you manage the overnight, you keep the framework, or it catalogs me," I said. "Like the others." "Yes," she said. "Or that." From somewhere in the main store, beyond the Annex door, from the direction of the Geoffrey Room, the near singing started. Low, patient. The sound of something that had been waiting a very long time and had learned that patience was simply another form of certainty. The sound of something that already knew how this ended. "Renata," I said, "are your kids real?" The pause that followed was the longest silence I have ever heard in my life. "My kids are real," she said, and then quieter. "My kids are real, Daniel. I need them to be real. They are real." She said it 3 times. I don't know if she was convincing me or herself. I took the management position. I wrote the rules out fresh on a clean sheet of paper, the handwriting pressing hard enough that the words almost came through the other side. I put them in the locker of the new overnight associate who starts on Monday. I spelled her name right. Her name is Maya Flores, 24 years old, new to town, fresh out of a bad situation in Philly and looking for something stable. She found our job posting on Indeed, and at the bottom of the note, under Rule 6, I wrote one line that wasn't in my original copy, one line that Phil Garrett never wrote for me, that I'm adding myself as the new manager because I think it's the most important rule of all and maybe the only honest thing I can put on that paper. Rule 7. If you ever start to wonder whether you came here on your own or whether you were brought here, don't look for the answer. You won't like what you find, and neither will I. The new girl starts Monday. She seems really excited about the job.